Today's climate crisis calls us as designers and architects to change the forms of building and habitation for a more sustainable future. We know that the building industry is responsible for approximately 40% of all global greenhouse gas emissions, and we have to do something about it. We must understand the value of indigenous knowledge regarding the way they inhabit their territories and how they are part of natural systems as key resource for responsible design. Should we bring indigenous knowledge of vernacular architecture and local material expertise into our urban studies? How can these have an impact on how we address climate crisis and prepare for adaptation? The idea of the bamboo route was born as a result of a deep connection between Construye Identidad and the indigenous community of Welewo in Indonesia. Basically, it all started in 2017 when we visited the island of Sumba as part of a research project about vernacular knowledge in the tropical rainforests. Sumba is one of the 70 islands in Indonesia with very few tourism, but with one of the most impressive vernacular architecture in bamboo. We had a big concern about the danger of losing their traditional knowledge. So with this idea, we created the first edition of the Bamboo Route in 2019 with the help of Stuttgarter Change Labs. So together with students from Universität of Stuttgart and from different parts of the world, we started a knowledge journey to be able to highlight the importance of traditional knowledge to promote sustainable design.
So our main goal during the stay in Sumba was the construction of a rain collector in the community of Welewo. And for that to happen, we had to learn their way of living to understand their needs and demands. So we slept in the same houses as they did and ate the same food and shared some ceremonial happenings like animal sacrifices and a funeral. And they taught us how to work with bamboo and how to harvest it from the jungle. So in the end, we built this rain collector, but with the active participation of the local people, which was really great experience for all of us. So 1 year later, we formed plans to do a second trip to summer. But then in the spring of 2020, Corona happened, so we had to cancel the plans and find an alternative. So we created this online format where we could bring the experts from Indonesia and Peru to the screens of the students here back at home, so they would be able to discuss and learn from a distance. We offered it as a seminar, which was basically a 1 week series of workshops and lectures, which were really time intensive.
On a day-to-day basis, the bootcamp was structured with morning lectures by experts from Indonesia on bamboo construction, both related to technical content, theory, and application. We were thrilled to include in this course the architect Yeni Gunawan, who shared an overview on vernacular architecture in Indonesia and Sumba. The architect Bumbu Lende, as a representative of Welewo people, shared the valuable spiritual aspect of the community. The engineer Oliver Betting, as the founder of Asali Bali, shared his technical expertise in bamboo construction and conducted an innovative bamboo model workshop.
One of the really nice things that Olivia showed us was this integration of the bamboo inside of a digital environment where you could actually test in theory how your structure is working. So to make something that is so traditional into an environment that is so digital, so new, and this is fantastic for me, this fusion of the two concepts. And at the end of the day, it was everybody working together and trying to assemble the model and so on. And this was really nice to see because this online format has its challenge and also has its opportunities, but you kind of miss a little bit this working together feeling. And the workshop, you could see everybody working together, and this was so nice. I feel like you could understand a little bit of everybody's expression on the design itself at the end. and you could see a bit of the personality of the person, her background, and so on. And this is a really nice experience.
The architect Andrea Fitrianto shared his experience working with communities in the process of reconstruction after natural disaster events in the island of Sulawesi. And the environmentalist Orin Hardy, who shared the projects from Bamboo U and his experience on contemporary bamboo architecture in Bali. From the side of Construye Identidad, the architect Pamela Cabrera shared her reflections on the relevance of vernacular architecture in times of climate change adaptation. The architect Lia Alarcón was one of the co-hosts of the bootcamp and conducted and mediated the exercises and group works.
So we had group exercises where we'd essentially have these role-playing activities. We would once position ourselves as an architect designing a space in the community, and we would plan our strategies according to that perspective. And then we'd role play as a community member in one of these vulnerable societies. And it's often a neglected point of view, but I think it's important to understand even their perspectives, because architects might have the best intentions for the communities, but what our idea of a good intention might not be what they actually wanted.
Marianne Trauten, as architect and social therapist, had the role of providing key aspects on the architect's inner development when dealing with social justice.
Throughout the bootcamp, we were encouraged to challenge our own perspectives and worldviews. We had engaging discussions about the deep-rooted systems of oppression, beginning from colonialism, which is still in existence after all the many decades, and all the way to racism and sexism, and even oppression in terms of religion.
And me, as a student of Stuttgart University, co-hosted the bootcamp throughout the week and shared some learned concepts from my master program, such as governance and the stakeholder analysis as a tool.
I've been working in some rural parts of the central Himalayas since 2016, and Bamboo Root has helped me look at this sort of work through the lens of a critical social justice approach, and it also brought some very interesting somatic experiences through the workshop, which made me realize that there's a lot more that we can sense through our bodies rather than just through the intellectual discipline. And this is also something that I'm focusing on for my master thesis research in the face of climate change.
2020 was not an easy year for anyone, but despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we discovered new methods of learning. We created a space of exchange where each of the students shared their commitment to play a part in building more sustainable habitats by starting from their own personal environment. We as architects have the opportunity to learn from vernacular knowledge and to integrate it with our discipline to be able to live in symbiosis with our habitat.
Jadi macam tiang ini yang 4 ini maupun dia tulang ribis yang saya bilang tadi ini yang 8 batang, tali, kayu, ya itu dari hutan. Jadi sampai selesai bangunan, maka menurut kita di sini harus dikembalikan kepada hutan.